So let's go to the SEC rankings, guys, where we think teams will finish. We'll, speed run through the bottom of the SEC. Let's start with this SEC rankings 10 through 16. We'll start with your number 16 team in the SEC, Gerald.
Yeah, I've got Auburn down there. I think they're not going to be very good. I just don't think they're going to be very good. I'm going to go back on that. I lied. I think Mississippi State. I'm going to say it now. Mississippi State, I think, is probably going to be 16. I think Mississippi State. Like I said, I said my one nice thing about Jeff Lebby for this, this year. He's a good football coach. I just think the talent's not there. They can move the ball. They're going to move the ball, but I also think if they're going to win any game, it's going to be a basketball game, and I think most teams in the SEC can score with them.
So, guys, Mark has this thing every year where he talks about it +3, -3. He's gone back like the last 10 years, and this has been tried and true. And basically on average in every season, guys, 4 to 6 teams per conference either move up 3 wins or they lose 3 more games than they did the year before. That's on average. Last year, 29 out of the 70 Power 4 conference teams did that. 29 out of 70. That's a lot. So my rankings are going to look weird because I factor that in when I do this. So Arkansas for me is going to be last. I have them at 2-10 in on the season, and I have them at 0-8. Or sorry, I have them at 3-9 and 1-7 in the SEC. I did change at the last second. I gave them 1 SEC win, so they are my bottom team. They are number 16. Number 15, I'll do this quickly. I have Vandy at 3-9 and 1-7 in the SEC. I just think what they did last year, guys, I think teams are going to be prepared. Like we talked about for the Texas game, when you run your mouth that much, you kind of put a bullet on your back, and no offense, they don't have the talent to do that. So that's why I have them at number 15 in the SEC. What about you, Gerald?
I think I have Kentucky at 15. I think I think Stoops is not long for the world. I think he's probably he wore out his welcome and kind of burns any of the goodwill he had with that whole trying to leave kind of situation. So I think that's going to probably and it factors in. I think he might get terminated early rather than later. Folks are trying to accelerate the coaching carousel process, and there are all sorts of names already floating out there. So I have Kentucky there, and then I have Vandy right above them at 14. So I think that 10 through 16, I think is pretty interchangeable, but I have Vanderbilt and Kentucky at 14 and 15.
Yeah, so all we did here is flip. I have Kentucky at 14. I am at 2-6 in the SEC. There's a little bit more talent than they had last year. I actually like the backup quarterback they put in last year versus us. Yeah, I actually thought he was pretty good. But they didn't go with him for whatever reason. They went with Zach Calzada. I think their offensive line is going to be a little bit better than it was last year. I think the defensive line will probably be a little bit worse, though. But they are my number 14 team. Number 13, I have Mississippi State. But I will say this. I have them at 6-6. I actually think they're going to beat Arizona State. They should have beat Arizona State last year if you watched that game. And that was in Arizona. This year, you're going to hear those cowbells in the background. I think that's going to help a little bit, and I think they're going to beat Arizona State. So I'm actually pretty high on them. I have them at 6-6, which is a good season for Mississippi State, and number 13 in the SEC.
Yeah, I've got Arkansas there. I think Arkansas, you had them at the bottom. I think Arkansas. I love. I think their coach is one of the good guys in the college football coaching industry in a land that there are a few of them. But I just don't think they've got the talent. I don't think they've got. They've got they actually got a really good quarterback, but I don't know who is going to be around him to be able to support him in that. So I think they're right there. And then above them, I have Auburn. Again, I had Auburn. I pivoted at the start of this, but I think Auburn, and this may be also my anti-Hugh Freeze bias. I don't think Hugh Freeze, he's the opposite of a Sam Pittman. I think Hugh Freeze is one of the not great people in the game. So I've got them right there.
This is going to be kind of shocking. I have Ole Miss at 12 in the SEC. I think the talent drop-off that this team had is substantial. They don't recruit very well out of high school, and the portal this year wasn't as good as in years past. They didn't bring anyone close to a Walter Nolan or Princely. I can't even say the name. Umanumale. I don't even know. Yeah, thank you. Because I knew I didn't hit that. But those two guys were top, I think, 100 picks in the NFL draft. I know Walter Nolan was. They didn't bring anyone near that on defense this year. And I actually like Austin Simmons, but his wide receivers, his offensive line are nowhere near as good as Jackson Dart's were. And Jackson Dart looks to be pretty damn good in the NFL right now. So I'm just low on this team. I'm not a big Lane Kiffin believer. I haven't been. I said that last year. I don't believe in him because of him, honestly. I think he's a lot of flash. So I have them at number 12. Could they go up? Yeah, I honestly think 12 through 6 guys is pretty hard to predict in the SEC. This is kind of where it tears up for me. So I have Ole Miss at 12.
I think that's fair. And I've Ole Miss a little bit higher because I'm not as much of a Lane Kiffin skeptic. And I think that they've got, you know, I just think they'll be okay. I think Lane finds a way to be annoying, and he likes to be just a thorn in people's side. So I think they've got an opportunity to be okay, but I don't think they're going to be great, but I think they're going to be okay.
Next who do you have? Oh no, you're good. Are you on 11?
I'm on 11.
Okay,
I'm on 11. And I've got Missouri here at 11. I think this is another team that's got some talent, but I just I don't think they're able to put it all. I think they might be a year away from being a really good team. They've done a really good job recruiting. I just think they're still a year away from getting some of those talented guys. They had some big recruiting wins again the last couple of cycles, but I really do think they're about a year away from those guys being able. I think they're probably one of the top half teams next year, but I think in 2025 they're going to be at a 7-5 ish. Potentially even an 8-4. I think all four of those losses may be SEC losses. I think they're probably in that situation, but ultimately, I think Missouri probably sits there at 11.
I think that's fair. I don't have them much higher. I have Tennessee here.
Okay.
Nico apparently is bowling out at UCLA. That's all the reports that people have gone to practice, and I think there's going to be a step back there. And they kind of remind me right now of last year's Oklahoma. There's already multiple guys hurt at the wide receiver position. And when you downgrade at quarterback and you're having all these injuries at wide receiver and your offensive line isn't that good, and your defense, by the way, lost a lot of defensive line men to the NFL, I just think they take a step back this year. Listen, a 7-5 year isn't good for Tennessee, obviously, but they're not a bad football team. They're still going to be a competitive, good football team. Actually, when I go game by game, so I have them beating, I think, Georgia week 3, but I still a 7-5 team because that happens, guys. You see bad teams beat good teams all the time in college football. There's a lot of parity. So I have Tennessee at 7-5 and number 11 in the SEC. I'll jump up to my number 10. This is a team I've been just saying they're going to fall off a cliff, and I think it's South Carolina. I don't think they're going to be that good. They have two very good football players in Dylan Stewart and Lenore Sellers. Who else do they have? If you say Nick Harbor, show me the stats, because the guy's a great track star, but he has like 300 yards receiving in 2 years or 400 yards receiving. It's not very good. So unless he just completely pops off and becomes like Julio Jones, whose comp is coming out of high school, then guess what? I don't think they're going to be very good. And this is what made them so good. They had Kennard off the edge last year. I believe he won the Nagurski for best defensive end. He's no longer on the team. He was actually better than Dylan Stewart statistically. Guess what teams can do now? Dylan Stewart, you're getting double and triple team because you don't have your running mate anymore. So I think they fall off a cliff. I have them at number 10 in the SEC.
And I think that's fair. And I think that's honestly kind of where I have them at as well. I think I have them in Tennessee flipped from your order. So I think South Carolina, I love Lenore Sellers. This feels like there's that meme of like a Lamborghini parked in a trailer. Like, I feel like that's Lenore Sellers on this team in a lot of ways. He's one of the most electrifying talents. He is one of my blue shell kind of players that I call him, a guy who can change a game in an instant. Like you saw him against A&M last year, just blow up in a couple of spots, and then he got hurt and things went sideways. So, but again, I think you're right. There's not enough. They lost. I think Rocket Sanders is gone as well, right? I think he also, and that was a big part of why Lenore Sellers was so effective in the zone read, because if you don't put somebody on Rocket Sanders is gone. So that's an opportunity there. So I think that's fair that they're not going to be as good. Again, I think they've got a good coach. They've got a good football coach. So he could coach them up. He's got the ability to do that. But ultimately, I don't think they're going to be as good this year. So I already spoiled the next team up for me, Tennessee right above them. When you lose your quarterback in spring, I don't know what else to tell you, right? There's not like all of the good quarterbacks that were in the portal were gone. There's not, and the quarterback is the most important position in football. I think there's enough talent on that team to float them a little bit, but if they have Nico, I think they're probably one of the top tier teams in the conference, but they don't. And so I think that just takes them down a tier for me.
So we'll jump to number 9 now. So I have Missouri at number 9. I think the schedule is just too easy, honestly. Like, if you told me my 12 team is Ole Miss, they could be up here, and Mizzou could fall all the way down to 12. But the schedule is just really easy, and I do like Bo Prabula, and I believe his name's Amon Hardy, who we played last year, and he was a good running back. I think he rushed for like 70 or 80 yards versus might have been 100, actually. He might have been the only guy as an individual to get 100 yards rushing. I think he's going to do really well at Missouri. Their defense is pretty good, and with the soft schedule, I think they're able to get. I have them at 8-4 and 4-4 in the SEC, and the ninth team in the SEC.
Yeah, I think I have them lower. I just there's something about I just don't like the vibes. I don't know what. There's not really great analysis. I just don't like the vibes from it. I'm not hearing a ton of buzz from them, and maybe that's a good thing. I don't know, but I'm just not loving what's going on there. Again, my next team up, I've got Oklahoma here. I don't. Again, I'm a John Mateer truther. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I need to see it from John Mateer before I buy the hype. Against Power 5 teams last year, John Mateer was not very good, and shocker, it's going to be. They're going to have to play a full Power 5 schedule this year. They're going to have 8 of those teams on their schedule. So I need to see it before I buy the hype. Now, their defense is going to be very, very good. They've got a really good running back, but ultimately it's a quarterback league. It's a quarterback game ultimately. And I think it's hard to win if your quarterback is a wagon and not a driver for your team. So I have OU right here.
Number 8 for me, I have Auburn here. This is the team with the highest ceiling and the lowest floor in the whole conference. I could see this team be 9-3. I could see this team be 3-9. I really could, because I have no idea what the quarterback is going to be. Guess what, though? I love the wide receivers. I think they have the best duo in college football with Cam Coleman and Eric Singleton. Like, I love Eric Singleton. I wish Texas would have ponied up the money. I see why we didn't, because I think he got like $1 million, but he's a really, really good football player. Their offensive line is going to be really good. They're going to have to fill in someone for Jarquez Hunter, who they lost. And I do think the defense, it was solid last year, and I expect it to be solid again this year. So I think Jackson Arnold is better quarterback than Peyton Thorne. I don't think that takes much. And in a Hugh Freeze offense, I think they're able to get it to the playmakers and make enough plays. So I have them at number 8 in the SEC.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I see the floor. You're seeing the ceiling from them. I think they could be very. I don't think Jackson Arnold was the problem last year at Oklahoma. So if Jackson Arnold is who we thought he was 2 years ago, I could see Auburn being this high for sure. I think it's completely fair. So we're at what, number 7, right?
I did 8. Have you done your 8 team yet?
I think I just did my 8. Let's go. We'll just keep it moving. So I had Oklahoma. I've got Florida next. Florida is my next up. We'll just go ahead and throw it out there. Florida. Again, this is all. There's a big asterisk on this, right? If DJ Lagway is healthy, I think they're this good, right? I think they're right on the cusp of that top tier of the conference. I think they've got when Billy Napier took the job, he said this is going to be a multi-year rebuild. It is, like he set expectations. The bar was very, very low, and he hasn't done quite a good enough job of getting to that low bar, I think, in some ways. And last year, I think that hinged on the fact that DJ Lagway, who is a guy who is good enough to win games on his own, was injured, was banged up. If DJ Lagway is healthy, I think Florida has an opportunity to have a very high ceiling. DJ Lagway is the ceiling setter for this team. So again, asterisk here. I think DJ Lagway, if he's healthy, I have them here.
David Keith Williams, Nick Harbor is 6'5", 235, and he goes into his junior year. He literally runs a 10.1. Yeah, he's a freak. That's my issue, is why haven't you produced yet? And that's the thing too. Is it him? Is it the offensive coordinator not able to get him the ball in certain ways? I don't know, but I'm just not. I've seen 2 years, and I've seen literally basically nothing from him. So I just can't predict that he's going to pop off in his junior year. Even if he pops off, a wide receiver's worth maybe a win. So I'm not that high on South Carolina. I think they overachieved last year, and I was high on South Carolina last year. Actually, compared to most people, I had South Carolina 7-5 last year. They went 9-3. It would have been hard to find someone in the offseason to predict South Carolina to have 7 wins, let alone 9 wins. So I just think they take a step back this year. So back to the rankings, we are on number 7. I have Florida as well. So Florida, to me, another team like Auburn, really high floor, really low ceiling, and it comes down to DJ Lagway's health. If you could guarantee me right now DJ Lagway plays 10 games, 10, I'm not even asking for 12, 10 games, I think Florida's in the top 5 in the SEC. You can't do that. So I'm going to put Florida at 7. I think it's a perfect happy medium. I have them at 8-4, 4-4 in the SEC. They're going to beat some people they shouldn't. That's why I have them beating us. They could beat, Georgia at the world's biggest cocktail party. They probably should have beat them last year. DJ Lagway, guess what? Didn't get hurt. That is the biggest thing with me. They have everything else. The defense is pretty good. The offensive line's really good. The wide receivers are good. The running backs are good. It's literally DJ Lagway's health for me that is holding me back for saying, you know what, I'm putting Florida in the SEC championship game, or, top 3, top 4 in the SEC.
Again, you and I agreement there, right? There's a big asterisk with DJ Lagway's name on it. I think Billy Napier needs to wrap DJ Lagway in bubble wrap, and because his job is tied directly to DJ Lagway's ability to stay healthy.
Number 6, I have Oklahoma. So I think you're going to eat, let's be honest, that offense was hot, last year. I think it was ranked out of 133 Division I teams. They were like 121 or 122. They were one of the 15 worst offenses in the whole country. So I think if they can be the 70th best offense, which I think they can be, and still, have a top 15 defense, this team can win 9 games. That's what I have. I have them at 9-3. I have them beating Michigan week 2 because of, again, when that happens, Bryce Underwood in his second game, first road start, that's going to be really hard for Michigan to win that football game. So I think that gives them a bump. And that's the thing too. I have Michigan 9-3 in the Big Ten. So I think that, those two teams going head to head, that's going to be a really good week 2 game. So I have Oklahoma at number 6 in the SEC.
I need them riding high coming into Dallas. I need them riding high for Texas to knock them off. I've got Ole Miss here. I like Lane. I don't know why I'm buying the Lane hype. I don't know why. It's just he is the ultimate troll. And I think when we don't expect Lane to be anything is when Lane generally tends to surprise people. He's this, I don't know what there is about him, but it's just like when he has the teams that should be these elite teams, these playoff teams, he seems to underachieve. But when he's a little bit behind the 8 ball, he tends to be a pain in somebody's keister. So I think that for that reason alone, that's why I have them here at 6.
No, that's perfectly fair. So that's the team we disagree on. So we're going to be keeping a close eye on it. Everything else we're pretty close on. It's Ole Miss. That's what's dividing the channel right now. We got to figure out where that's going to land.
Lane Kiffin, once again, a wedge issue.
Yeah. Number 5, I have A&M. I'm super high on A&M, and it's going to be for the dumbest reason possible. Guys, have we heard any hype from A&M this offseason compared to past offseasons? No, we haven't. Guess what that means? I know how life works. I know it's when someone is touted, oh, they're the best, they always underachieve. And then all of a sudden you stop talking and holy crap, it actually turned out to be true this year. I think A&M has the talent with the schedule to do what I think they're going to do. I think they're going to go 10-2. I think their only loss is going to be to LSU and to Texas with that schedule. I think they get Notre Dame at the right time. I'm super low on Notre Dame. The 2 teams I'm lowest nationally on are Notre Dame and Oregon, because guess what? Those 2 teams haven't named their quarterback yet. Why haven't you named your quarterback yet? That's not a good thing, especially with, CJ Carr coming in, all-world freshman, not named the starter, probably actually not going to win the job. So I think they're going to beat Notre Dame on the road. I really believe that. So I think they're going to end up 10-2, and I have them number 5 in the SEC.
I think even if they don't beat Notre Dame, I think they're still probably the 5th best team in the SEC. And that's also where I have them as well. And again, it hurts me to say good things about Texas A&M, right? This is, I was up late last night, wrestling with myself over this. So I wanted to put them at 16. Just everything in me is put those suckers at 16. But as much as it pays me to say it, Mike Elko is a football coaching son of a gun. He is a football coach. There's no other way to say it, right? He is a football coach, a defensive-minded guy. You pair a defensive-minded coach and a team that's able to run the ball really well, and you've got a recipe for success, right? Because A&M is going to run the ball really, really well. I've said it already. They've got one of the best running back tandems in the country. I think Marcel Reed is going to thrive in that Colin Klein offense with those 2 running backs. This is going to be a very annoying team for a lot of teams to play, because it's going to be like an old Kansas State team. I think they're going to play really good defense. I think they're going to run the ball. They're going to set the pace. They're not going to make any dumb mistakes. And I think they're going to be a decent football team. So I again, as much as it pains me to say it, I'm saying this with that throw up taste in the back of my throat. I think A&M is going to be an okay football team. Now, if they fall behind in any game for any reason, I think the wheels fall off very quickly because of how they're built. But ultimately, I think they're able to control a lot of games because of defense, because of running the ball, and because what Marcel Reed does best is what Colin Klein is able to call really well.
No, I think that's fair. So I'm going to go with LSU at number 4. I think they're a solid football team. The Garrett Nussmeier patella tendonitis thing does worry me because that's serious. If that thing rips, I don't know where. I mean, that thing could fall out very quickly, guys. Especially week 1 playing Clemson with a whole new offensive line. That's not a good recipe with that type of injury. So I have them at number 4. I still think they're going to be a solid football team. And let me tell you, if they don't win at least 9 games this year, I think Brian Kelly's fired. I just don't see how they keep him at this point. But I do have LSU at number 4 in the SEC.
I think a decent buyout is what keeps Brian Kelly there maybe for another year. He's got a pretty big number attached to his name. So I've actually got LSU here at well. I think, I'm an anti-Brian Kelly guy, and my personal biases play a lot. I just don't like Brian Kelly. I think he's not a great person. But I also think I've said it on this channel multiple times, the LSU staff has a tendency to outthink themselves. They sometimes like, hey, we're running the ball really well. Let's chunk it 16 times and a half. Hey, what do we do with Harold Perkins, one of the most talented players? Let's put him in a box. Like, they outthink themselves. They think themselves out of a lot of winning situations. And ultimately, I think that's going to happen again this year. They have the ability to win purely on talent. If you throw 11 guys out there and just let them play backyard ball, I think LSU probably wins a lot of really good football games. But ultimately, I think this LSU coaching staff just hasn't figured out how to get out of its own way. And I think, again, was Notre Dame and was Brian Kelly the Notre Dame problem, or was Notre Dame the Brian Kelly problem, right? He left Notre Dame to get into a position to compete for college football playoffs, college football championships, and he leaves, and 3 years later, they're playing for a college football championship, right? So like the proof is in the pudding right there that I think Brian Kelly is a cap on what this team can do.
No, I think that's completely fair. So number 3, Gerald, I'll let you go first. Who's your number 3 team?
I've got Georgia at number 3. I've got Georgia at number 3, even though I think Texas probably goes to Athens and loses that one if you watching throughout the show. I think Georgia, there's so much variance with them. And again, and saying they're 3rd in the conference feels weird because they've won multiple conference championships and national championships. They haven't seemed to reload. They've got a quarterback that we're not sure what we're going to get. They lost a ton of talent on both sides of the ball. They have a lot of talent, and Brian Kelly has not forgotten how to coach football, but I think there's probably enough. They've got a really tough schedule. They've got a lot of turnover. I'll believe it when I see it, right? This is my prediction. It's my hot take show. I still could see them winning the conference and not shit. Again, I think there's tiers. I think they're in that tier of wouldn't be shocked if they win the conference.
Yeah, I agree. I think honestly, my top 5, I could even see A&M winning the SEC. Those are like my top 5 teams I could see winning.
Never, no.
The conference. No. I'm glad you said that. No, push back all you want on that one. But number 3, I have Bama. 10-2. I do not trust Kalen DeBoer in games that don't matter. That's my biggest issue. Games that when we play Oklahoma, they should easily win that game. Lost. They should easily beat Vanderbilt. Lost. When he was at Washington, they should easily beat Washington State in a down year. Oh, and they're in a tight game where they have to run a fake reverse to get a 4th down conversion to beat a bad Washington State team. There are games that they should easily win that they're in these dogfights are losing. And I think that's what's going to happen. I have Bama losing to Missouri, and there's another game, I forget the exact game it was, that they should win, but they're not going to. I think it's Oklahoma. I think when they go to Oklahoma, I think they're going to lose to, or no, because they're at home now. They'll beat them. But I just don't trust him in those type of games. I trust him in the big games. We saw when they played LSU, and that's a big game. They destroyed him. They beat him 41-6. He does that. College football playoff game. They beat Texas when they were the underdog. But in those games that don't matter, that aren't thrown up on the as bulletin board material, he ends up losing those types of games. So that's what I think is going to happen to Bama this year and keeps him out of the SEC championship game.
I think that's fair. I think that's a fair expectation. I like the talent that they have so much. It almost feels like it's one of those, you would have to be exceptionally bad at doing your job if they lose with this team, right? There's just so much talent there. They've still got a lot of what Saban brought in. They've still added a ton of talent there. So again, much like I said with Georgia, I've got Alabama at 2 in the conference, just because I think again, they've got a ton of talent. I wouldn't be shocked if they won the conference. Again, putting somebody at 3 in the SEC this year means that I think they could win. Same thing with 2. I think they could very well. I have them in the SEC championship game against Texas. This is a Texas show, right? Spoiler alert, right? Alabama at 2, playing Texas for an SEC champion.
Yeah, so we're not that much different. I have Texas and Georgia playing in the SEC championship game. I think it's kind of a inverse of last year, guys. I think Texas is going to beat Georgia at home. Spoiler alert, I think Texas is going to beat Georgia in the SEC championship game this year. I think we're going to get our lick back and win both games this year versus Georgia that we play them in. Gerald, do you have Texas beating Alabama in the SEC championship game?
I do.
Okay, so Texas is your SEC champion according to us, and I believe I was at 11-1. You were at 11-1 also.
Yeah, we had different losses. You had Florida, I had Georgia, but I think we both had them at 11-1.